Hello, I'm Jag from Jag's Watches and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I need to make a very big decision and I will be making that decision at the end of the video as to whether I should keep my birth year Omega Seamaster reference 253180 with the original tritium dial, also known as the Pierce Brosnan James Bond watch, the automatic version at 41mm diameter. But let me give you a little backstory before I get into the pros and cons of this watch and as to whether I will be keeping it. The way I got this watch was so unique, and I always talk about stories and developing stories with your watches and with your collection. I met a vintage watch dealer in London in a pub to buy a different watch, and in fact that watch I've got right here, it's the 1965 Breitling Top Time. Now that didn't go into focus, but this watch I absolutely love. It's another Bond watch. It's one of my favourite, my vintage grail I always call it. But it's such a beautiful watch, and that's the watch I went to go and buy off this chap. Big up to John, by the way. I hope you're doing well. We got talking about watches for about an hour. We didn't even talk about the watch I went to buy. We were talking about all sorts. He was wearing a 1980s Explorer. A beautiful Explorer, I might add. And we started talking about our interests, and I started talking about James Bond, how my grail is the No Time to Die Seamaster. And then his ears pricked up and he said, I've actually got another Bond Seamaster. It's a Pierce Brosnan one. And I was like, oh, right, the one, the blue dial and slightly slimmer profile. And he looked at me again and he was like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 30. And he said, were you born in 1994? And I was like, yes. He said, I have a birth year Bond watch. And now this Pierce Brosnan watch, growing up, I remember seeing it in the films and thinking, wow, that's a very cool watch. More importantly, a very cool Bond. He was probably the suavest James Bond to date, in my opinion. And I looked at him and I said, you've got a 1994 James Bond in pristine condition, box and papers, but I've just bought and spent quite a lot of money with you. I don't think I can get this watch. And he was like, oh, Jag, you know what I'll do for you, Jag? I will come back to London in the next month or so. I'll bring that watch with you and you can trial it for 6 months. And then around your birth month, which is this month, and in fact my birthday was yesterday, he said, make a decision. If you want to keep it, buy it off me. And if you don't want to keep it, you can give it back to me in June. And so I've been trialing it now for 6 months, and I've got to be honest, I've absolutely loved it. Now, before I get into the pros and cons of the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you've been enjoying the content so far. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. So I've talked about the crazy story about how I've managed to get hold of this watch. And as I said, I've been wearing it quite a lot over the last 6 months. It's interesting because this particular example is in such great condition. The loom has started to patina just at the right level with the creamy tone only tritium can really give. The dial has that deep navy glow with that classic wave pattern that screams classic Omega, but not too in your face like the new versions of the Seamaster. And it's not just any Seamaster, it's Pierce Brosnan Seamaster. And of course, Pierce Brosnan did wear the quartz version. This is the automatic 41mm diameter version of the watch. It wears more like a 39mm because it does have quite a slim profile. But more than the fact that it's a Bond watch, it felt like a piece of my era. Being born in the 90s, it has 90s proportions, 90s design, but it's still very timeless. And even today, I have been getting compliments throughout the last 6 months of wearing it. But here's why I'm questioning it. I have another Seamaster. I have the No Time to Die Seamaster. Yes, very aesthetically different. It's a titanium version with a dark brown tropical dial, completely different color tones. It's a little bit chunkier than that one, a little bit heavier, and I don't really like heavy watches. I don't really like to wear or feel my watch too much, but this is definitely the heaviest watch in my collection. Those are the only cons I could think of, by the way. I just absolutely have loved this watch, especially in the summer. The yellow tritium on the indices of this watch just play with the light beautifully. This bracelet is so comfortable, and the fact that it was made in the 90s, just a testament to the brilliance of Omega. Some people don't like the bracelet, the look of this bracelet. I think the nitpick that I can have with this, with this bracelet is that it doesn't taper. So it is quite chunky around the wrist. And I remember, this isn't just another watch. It's from 1994, like me, and in fact, April of 1994. So only a couple of months difference there. It's got a tritium dial that was only, from my own research that I've done, was they only made this particular version of the watch with the tritium dial for around 2 years. So it's a very rare version of the watch. It represents a specific chapter in Omega's history and in mine too. And if I don't wear it weekly, every time I pick it up, It reminds me of why I love watches in the first place. And it's almost going back in time, going back into my life of where it was one of the first watches I was exposed to. It isn't the most worn watch in my collection, but watches don't always have to be about wrist time, I don't think. And sometimes they're about connection. I always talk about emotional connections and stories. And I think this watch has such a unique story in the way that it came to me. Us watch enthusiasts are sensationalists, and we love a good story. We're very emotional people, and we try and think of any reason to keep a watch, and that's what I've tried to do here. But I think genuinely the uniqueness of the way that this watch came to me in the story is more than enough of a reason. And the watch itself is still holding up, and I can't believe how much of a great condition it is. Now let me talk about price. This watch will cost me £2,000. I still, to this day, have not seen a greater example of this for less than £2,000 with box and papers, and more importantly, a 1994 birth year watch. Let me know in the comments what you would do if you were in my position. Would you keep this watch, considering the fact that I've got another Seamaster in the collection? This is another watch that I have, of course, and then a Moon Swatch and a Blancpain 50 Fathoms collaboration. Those are my 5 watches in rotation currently. I'll be interested to know if you were in my position, would you keep it? As I said, £2,000 is not a small amount of money for me. It's a sizable amount of cash. And that is why I've actually really thought about it and decided to air my thoughts to you. And you know what? You being my viewers, your opinion actually does matter to me now. It's crazy. Over the last 6 months, I've been making content and been connecting with you guys in the comments. I'd love to know what you think I should do. As I said, I've got this month to make a decision. I don't need to make a rash decision. I am edging towards keeping it, and that is because of all the reasons I've talked about. There are very few negatives about this watch, and they've got to do with the fact that maybe I don't wear it as much as I should do, and the fact that the watch is kind of heavy, and I don't think they're enough to not keep the watch. Let me know in the comments if you'd keep it, if you would sell it. Sorry, not sell it, if you'd give it back. As I said, I haven't bought it yet. Let me know if you have a birth year watch as well in the comments, and which birth year watch that may be. Let me know if you're a fan of this watch. And as usual, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.